Guys 2 meters apart during the pandemic. Hello everyone, this is Charlie Veach on the Charles Veach channel. Today is March the 25th, first thing in the morning. It's 8:55. This is Market Street, the main pedestrian and shopping, and I guess this is the most urban street in all of Manchester. As you can see, there's maybe 20 people. There would usually be about maybe 400, 500 people. Just a few stats to keep you updated. The virus is of course spreading pretty much exponentially. 100,000 cases every hour or so now, 100,000 new cases. We're almost at the point where, if you look at the death count around the world, it's rising by maybe 1,000 every few hours, and we're maybe days away from it being a 9/11 style 3,000 dead every hour. Soon it will be every half hour, so it is very serious. I do agree with the scientific and governmental advice to stay apart from each other, take precautions. That's a tram you hear behind me, just in case you're wondering. So things are still moving, just at a 95% reduced rate. So take the advice, do the hygiene, stay away from big crowds. Right now, as I speak, as you watch, the House of Lords, which is the other legislative branch of the UK government, there's the House of Commons where the members of Parliament sit, and then you've got the House of Lords. They are currently debating the emergency coronavirus bill, which would come into power tomorrow, which means that non-essential movement out of the house will be fined, will be arrested, will be taken home, will be quarantined officially, will be isolated. So I just wanted to come out on the street and say that, well, what I've just said, but also the mortality rate is still a big concern. All pandemics throughout history, you figure out the mortality rate via the confirmed cases versus the dead. We don't have a way to figure out a Schrodinger's potential quantum fluctuation mortality rate. Until you test people, they either have it or they don't have it. Or as Schrodinger's would say, you both have the virus and you don't have the virus until you collapse the wave into a particle via a coronavirus test. Anyway, keep safe. Interesting times. My YouTube channel has taken a bit of everyone, the entire planet has taken a bit of a funny turn into the pandemic preparation, pandemic delay, pandemic containment. But what is disturbing, not so much in Manchester, it's a bit quieter, but you see the videos from London on the London Underground, the metro system, the underground tube system, the buses, the trains, everything is packed. People are in each other's faces in hot carriages. Not so much happy carriages, just hot carriages breathing, infecting each other. So it continues. And we've seen out of Italy as well. They've had quarantine for maybe 3.5 weeks now, 3 weeks. And the death rate is accelerating. Another 720 dead yesterday, which is as bad as it was a few days ago. And it doesn't seem to be slowing down. So interesting times we live in. There's an old Chinese proverb, very apt. Let them live in interesting times. This is Charlie Veach. March the 25th, signing off from central Manchester in the United Kingdom. This is a store called Holland & Barrett. It's a very popular health food store. This is a kind of flagship branch over 2 floors, and this is the most restrictive one I've seen. Only 2 customers in a very large store. That's good. Everyone, 25th of March, deep within the Manchester quarantine. As I said briefly, the legislation will be signed into law tomorrow. So everyone is maintaining already ahead of time the social distancing, the isolation, the staying at home. Going outside into the garden yesterday evening, listening, hearing the silence. Well, actually, in fact, I was hearing my tinnitus, but the silence was fantastic, incredible. Every cloud has a silver lining. I'm not going to say disrespectful and insensitive things because this virus is killing a lot of people. There is a debate to be had whether the people it's killing would have died anyway in the next year or so because they're ill and very elderly, and would the seasonal, is coronavirus replacing seasonal flu, or is it adding to seasonal flu deaths here in the UK? I promised many of the commenters yesterday or the day before that I would do the metaphysics of the coronavirus outbreak, the pandemic, and let's do it. It's very simple. Very, very simple. For all our here's the metaphysics, here's the cosmology, the philosophy of a viral pandemic, a dangerous viral pandemic with a mortality rate that is sobering. For all our advanced technology and all our overclocked advanced chimpanzee graphics card brains, for all our incredible software in turning the outside objective world into a subjective interpretation and actually running parallel space-time continuums at once, which may be the cause of consciousness, the ability to differentiate past, present and future along different parallel lines in terms of alongside your reason and your language abilities and your abstract ability to conceptualize 3D objects, spinning globes in your mind. For all of that, for all that we are, for all of our technology, for all of our industrial living and air travel and iPads and Samsungs and whatever, for everything, for all our hopes of going to Mars and exploring Europa and finding alien life, for all of this, for everything we can create that is super advanced, you just need to look at nature. Nature, which has been the reality, the Spinozan God, the Baruch Spinoza, his interpretation of nature as God, a kind of sort of panpsychism, but it's kind of almost too vague to call it panpsychism. But what I'm getting at is, for everything you try and do, nature, the reality, the background, the subconscious world that we live in can and will and has and is doing, can release a semi-alive genetic code, a tiny, tiny little thing, a few microns across. You can only see it with like electron microscopes. That can threaten civilization. Civilization is shut down. Everything is upside down. Clown world has turned into the kind of Stranger Things upside down world. And it's bizarre how as soon as the coronavirus hits, the never-ending floods, the never-ending storms, there's parts of England that maybe get flooded once a generation, they're getting flooded every weekend. Very symbolic. The flood has come. Did you build an ark? Did you heed the warnings? Have you got enough food to last for a little bit in case shit really hits the fan? The coronavirus is the modern day flood. This is the chaos that is flipping everything upside down. You don't need to be scared. All you need to do is be positive. Everything will be okay. And give love and care for the people around you. And that's pretty much it. Okay, everyone, this is the busiest shopping mall in Manchester. This shopping mall is the center of Manchester. It's a very rainy city. And so the decision was made 20 years ago or so to put the very epicenter of Manchester indoors. Now look at it. I've never seen the Arndale like this. This is working hours. This is during the day. And look at it. Can you feel the silence in the city center? All around the world. It's all finished. Hi everyone, another interesting point to make that I didn't say when I was out on the street is that, you know, we have the confirmed cases in Western liberal democracies that may or may not be trying to fudge the books because it is a terrifying global pandemic. People are absolutely in fear everywhere. So there may be an argument to be made, even if you're a civilized, liberal, democratic nation, to try and cook the books a bit to bring down the coronavirus deaths and call it pneumonia or influenza or old age or kidney failure or heart disease. There's a million things doctors can do to kind of lower the official rate. Now, if democracies, even if me, Mr. Randy Pan, the liberal man, can understand and maybe look the other way if governments don't want to frighten their masses, can you imagine in places like Iran and China and Russia, you know, countries that uphold the party's integrity over and above the truth? Just imagine how much they're cooking the books in China. See, at the cashiers now in Morrison's, they have big spit guards or big plastic barriers, which is fair enough. Now you come up, you got to stand on your dot, and then you got to stay behind this guard here and the lady serves you. Cha-ching, thank you very much. Have a good day. Okay, we're driving through Swinton. It's quiet. Just wanted to share a thought that, you know, seeing so many people walking around wild-eyed and terrified is that I think some people are better equipped psychologically to handle this upheaval. Some of us are used to chaos. Some of us are used to having our lives turned upside down. Whether it's a baby being born or losing a job or something. If you've had big scary events or big exciting events, I think you're a bit more equipped. And also, I'm very open-minded. I'm open to changing my mind a lot. I'm open to things suddenly not being the way they were before, thus revealing their illusory nature. But my God, everyone, I've never seen anything like this. Hi everyone, here's the isolation office I'm working from. Just checking up the latest stats on coronavirus. I gave some statistics, mortality rates in my last video, so I'm going to phrase it very carefully here so that there's no confusion about what I'm going to say. I will state categorically, factually, and truthfully. Of the 131,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus that have concluded, 85% live, 15% die.